So I know you're all about writing good copy for Messenger. And, obviously I've dabbled in Messenger bots for some of my own businesses and clients. So what are some, I guess, best practice you think people should use when sort of dabbling with Messenger bots?
Yes, thank you so much for opening that can of worms. I'm so happy.
Welcome back to the Talking Web Marketing Podcast with myself, Ilana Wexler. This is a show where we reveal the best tips, tricks, and tactics to increasing your website traffic and then converting that traffic into leads and sales. We also discuss what's working right now in the ever-changing world of web marketing so you can apply it to your business. Hi, and welcome back to today's episode on Talking Web Marketing. I'm your host, Ilana Wexler, and today we've got an interesting topic. We're going to be talking about Messenger bots, and more specifically, writing good copy in your Messenger bot. Now, I'm not an expert in Messenger bots by any means. I've dabbled with it definitely a lot, but I've brought along an expert in this, a lady under the name of Mary Kathryn Johnson, who is the founder of messengerfunnels.com, who has a messenger bot agency. So in today's episode, we're going to talk about the basics of messenger bots, what kind of businesses that are the best application for messenger bots, the different types of ways that you can use bots, and as I mentioned, how to use really good copy and best practice in your bot. So if you're brand new to messenger bots, or even if you're kind of at the intermediate level like me, then you will get a lot out of today's episode. I certainly did in my chat with Mary. So let's just get stuck right in. Welcome to today's episode. It's so lovely to have you here. Can you maybe just sort of give us a bit of information about you and what you do and maybe even your background?
Oh boy, I'm going to have to keep myself nice and short. Yeah, because I could talk forever. Ilana, I'm Mary Kathryn Johnson. I'm the CEO and founder of Messenger Funnels. And basically this, my entire career online, which started in 2003, has culminated in this whole messenger bot world, this chatbot, artificial intelligence, futurist marketing is what I kind of call it. It's got to grab me by the throat and it will not let go. And it makes sense to me because I've been chasing every marketing squirrel in the world online since 2003. And it's just all pinpoint to this. This makes sense. And so I landed in it 2 years ago, February or January of 2017, and I'm still having a blast. So
I'm interested actually on that in terms of why that grabbed you from the throat so much, why it resonated with you so much.
You know, I really do think because I'm one of those weird people who is
weird?
Yeah. So I'm you might be my kind of weird. Let's see. So I kind of straddle both sides of the fence between marketing, creative, coming up with ideas, being all excited about things, and tech. And I love both. I straddle both. I can do both equally. I can get down into the weeds and do a membership site details, and I can look strategy and develop business plans and strategies and things. And so I kind of do both of those things. So when this whole messenger bot came into being, when I first saw it, I had already been trying to do email marketing and all those kinds of things, and it just didn't stick. It didn't feel right. Nothing ever really blew up for me in email. It just didn't fulfill any of the promises. And when I saw this, it made sense. I understood it from a marketing standpoint of sending sequential messages and warming people up, but it spoke in a way that that just lights me up. And the reason is mainly because I call it face tweet. It's like Facebook and Twitter had a baby. That's basically what this is about. I was not a Facebook gal. I'm not one of those that post pictures of my kids or what I ate or have these long stories about how I feel or all that. That's just not me. I'm a Twitter gal. And so I would be on Twitter and I would do, punches, little punches. Here's what's going on. Here's what's going on. Be short, blunt, to the point. So when this happened with Messenger, it's like, yes, I can communicate in a very friendly Facebook kind of way, but Twitter-like.
Right.
So it's like, yes, that makes sense to me. I love it. And I just can't stop.
Yeah, cool. I'm always interested in people's stories, and I'm sure you've got a fascinating story. Do you mind sort of touching a little bit, without sort of going into a whole episode almost, on, I guess, how you landed here?
Oh my goodness. So the word landed here is really where that should start, because I was, in 2001, I was 8 months pregnant with my second son, and I was visiting my neighbor, and I walked out her front door and proceeded to fall down 3 steps of her entrance, of her landing. And I landed with 2 broken legs.
Oh my God.
So I'm 8 months pregnant, both legs in casts up to the knee. Baby's fine, right? I've got plenty of padding. Okay. And, but I can't walk. I've got casts on, and I have to go through labor, delivery, caring for my newborn, caring for my toddler, and, trying to fit a husband in there somewhere and a house. And
oh my God.
all of that with casts up to the knee. And so I experienced depression for the first time. I've never, ever experienced it, and haven't experienced it since. But it really was I'm a hard charging, go getting, just do everything myself. It's very hard for me to ask for help. Not anymore. And this was basically a knock across my head, literally, to say, sit down, shut up, and just see what happens.
Wow.
And finally, when I got the casts off and the baby was fine and I was fine, and I got a couple of months out from that, and I looked back and I really started to laugh, because it was really funny. I mean, I didn't even know what a bedside commode was, and I had one following me around. Because, how often do you have to go to the bathroom when you're in late-term pregnancy?
Yeah.
And how are you going to get there?
Oh my God.
When all you have is a walker.
Oh my God.
And so it was really funny in that respect, because my poor husband had to clean out that bedside commode twice a day for me.
Oh.
But I got on the other side of that, and I looked back and went, okay, if I can do this and I can keep my sense of humor intact, I can do anything.
Yeah, amazing.
And I started my first business 18 months later.
Yeah, right. And here you are.
And here I am.
So let's sort of touch on I guess, before we kind of get into the weeds on messenger bots and kind of what you do. For those people who've never really, I guess, engaged in a messenger bot, can you kind of touch on briefly, high level, what it is?
Yes. So it is basically an automated communication tool for businesses to use to communicate with their audience and subscribers. It is a subscription-based automated communication. So that's why
Facebook.
In Facebook right now, there are other chatbots. It's not just Facebook. You could actually, there's chatbots on Slack and a bunch of different other places. But the biggest place right now for businesses to use it to communicate with their consumers or their customers is, yes, Facebook Messenger. And it's similar. The reason I talk about emails, because it's similar to email, where people have to subscribe. They have to find your opt-in somewhere and then choose to say, yes, I want to opt into this. And then you can send them messages to communicate, warm them up, take them on an adventure, get them to know, like, and trust you better. And then obviously, hopefully convert them to a sale, a membership, or whatever, webinar attendance, whatever it is you're talking about. Mm-hmm. So in that sense, it's very similar to email. So that probably makes sense to people to explain it that way. But it is, that's where the similarities end. The things you can do with Messenger are beyond anything you could ever do in email.
Really?
Yes. Yes. So one of the things is, in email, you typically tell a long story, right? We're on that path where most people pour their hearts out and have a story, and could be 1,000, 2,000 words email. And then typically they only have 1, maybe 2 links or 2 calls to action in that email. You don't want to confuse people and give them too many options, right? Mm-hmm. So that's great. And that works with email. But with Messenger, this is very much text-like. So you can still tell a story, but you're going to do it as if you're texting a friend. So you're not going to text a friend a big long story and then ask them to click one button at the end, right? This is a participation. the people in your chatbot actually participate in the adventure. They participate in the story by you giving them a little short snippet of some, some hook or some engagement of some kind, intrigue, getting them involved in it. And then they click a button choosing to continue to hear more from you.
Right.
And so they have multiple buttons, multiple calls to action that get people to have many yeses along in your story, micro commitments. And then they finally get to the end, whenever that is, and the big commitment saying, hey, do you want to visit my webinar, or do you want to visit my sales page, or do you want to sign up for my video course, or whatever. That's the big pitch at the end. But all the way through, they're engaging with your story. They're again engaging with your adventure. You can't do that in email.
Right. I would imagine that, we're marketers, we're savvy, we know that this is a bot when we start engaging in Messenger and all that kind of stuff. But for lots of end users, so business, B2C, suddenly you're in their Messenger inbox. Have you found that sort of freaks a few people out? How did this happen?
Yes. Most of the time that experience, that response happens when people click on an ad.
Yes.
So lots of people, lots of marketers are running ads, and they're running them straight into Messenger. And I've done that too. And then in the ad, you say, hey, when you click the button, Messenger's going to open. I'm going to give you XYZ and, blah, blah, blah. Well, they don't read that. They just don't. They're used to clicking buttons in ads, and they're used to a landing page opening up or some other page. So when they click the button and all of a sudden you pop up in their Messenger, if they haven't seen it before, they're usually not happy.
Yes.
And they look at you like, what are you doing in my Messenger? You're spamming me. Get out, that kind of thing. So that's the only time I typically see it is in ads. And all we have to do is tell them, I'm sorry, we can't spam you. You clicked the button and then you clicked get started. And now you're subscribed. If you'd like, we can unsubscribe you. You'll never hear from us again, but I can't solicit you. Okay. I can't buy a list. I can't go out and just spam you in Messenger. You can't do that. The rest of the places, they're usually outside of ads, like if it's on your website or if you're on a Facebook post and they comment on it and you've told them, if you've connected the comment tool where if they comment on a post, they become a subscriber. That's not as difficult for people. But as this becomes more mainstream, people will be more familiar with it. People who've never seen it before really are like, what are you doing? How did you get into my Messenger? I don't get that as much as I got it, say, a year ago.
Yeah, interesting. What would you say is sort of, you think is like the best application of Messenger bot for what kind of business? I'm sure there's lots of them, but where have you seen it really just come into its own?
If you have a business that actually has a brand voice, a brand persona, you represent something in your brand, and you want your customers, clients, subscribers, audience to engage with the brand, to get on board your message, to get on board your cause, that is the business that Messenger fits best, because that's what it does. Because of those micro commitments, because of those mini yeses, people are fanatical. They are just white hot for brands that they believe in. And that have a cause that they can back. That's where a chatbot or Messenger, that's where it lives best. That's where it's in its best component, is when you have a brand that has a cause.
So you think like some kind of charity or?
No, not necessarily. I mean, Nike has an amazing following, right? They have a great brand. They have very specific followers. What was it? North Face, right? I mean, they have a specific brand. Some of the celebrities, Katy Perry, they're your brand. If you have any kind of, even if you're a business and you have a charity you support or a particular, following or group, like one of my clients that I always use because she's given me permission to talk about her. She has a group called the Because I Can Clan. And she sells a course helping people start an e-commerce business. But really, that's not what she sells. She sells the mindset that basically says, no, you can do this. And that, because people can go and rally behind that cause and help lift each other up and give each other the confidence and the mindset shift to actually make a living online and feel good about it and do good things. That cause, she has built an amazing brand in a chatbot.
So let's sort of delve a bit deeper into that. What is sort of the starting point of an application for that?
So the chatbots are, at least in ManyChat, in Messenger. So the specific program that I use to build these almost exclusively is called ManyChat. That's MANY. No, I'm not getting affiliate marketing or anything like that. But in ManyChat, the bot is broken up into typically 2 sections. The first section is the growth tool, which is the tool that allows people to subscribe. And that's where people come in, and that's where they're just like your email box on your website, right? Your email capture box. They have, I don't even know how many, but lots of different ways that you can bring people in. From on your website, you can have an actual chat box pop up, and people, you can say, how can I help you? And people can actually engage with that on your website, even though it's in Messenger. Links, you can put links anywhere. You can take a link and put it in your email and say, hey, do you want to chat over on Messenger? Click here. Right. In Instagram, on Pinterest, any of those links anywhere. So that's how people get in and subscribe. And then once they get in and subscribe, you actually create what's called a sequence of messages. And you can take them on an adventure once a day. I typically would recommend not doing this more than 3 days in a row, because people don't want to be bothered in Messenger. It's not like email, where you can send them an email a day for 100 days. And I have a client who does that very successfully. He wanted me to take those 100 emails and put them in a chat bot. I said,
oh my God.
Nope, not doing it. So you can send them messages once a day, once every 2 days, once a week. You can subscribe people to your RSS feed in Messenger. So if you have a YouTube channel, you have a blog post, you have a podcast, you can actually put that RSS feed in your bot, and people will be notified through the bot when you've published a new episode or a new video or whatever it might be. So all of those kinds of communication tools you can use in Messenger, and you can specifically take people on an adventure. You know, our relationships start a little cold. We don't quite know each other very well. We kind of get to know each other, have conversations, and then that conversation deepens. That's what chatbots do very, very well. They start you off with, here's who I am, who are you? You can segment people. You can ask them specific questions and find out what they need. And when they tell you specifically what they need, you attach them to a new sequence specifically talking about that thing. Right. And you only give them that until you ask them another question, and then they segment themselves again. Does that make sense?
Totally. Yep.
It's
so
like
incredible. Old school choose your own adventure.
It is, absolutely. And people love that, because this is how you can actually have more of a human one-to-one marketing communication in an automated way, because it is so personalized.
Yeah, right. And I would imagine for, a company which deals with, provides services, for example, versus an e-commerce store, it's a completely different chatbot experience.
Mm-hmm. It can be, and it can, and maybe not. So there's one of my e-commerce clients. They have a cause behind them, right? They're not just one-off transactional. Okay. When you purchase something from this store, they donate to a particular cause, and they tell you about it, and they introduce you to the people whose lives they've helped change, or whose lives you help change by purchasing their products. So that e-commerce store has a great following, specifically because these people want to support that charity. So they keep coming back to that e-commerce store, and they learn about all those things. So they're still selling a product, but they have a cause. Yes. Now that's an e-commerce. So now we definitely have services where you can, like my services, for example, I sell through a bot. I don't sell it, but I have applications and information where people can, give me information to see if we're a fit and see if we can help them. And you can be very specific on what exactly it is they need, and have an actual application or survey in the bot, helping them find out really whether they're a fit for you, and if they are, what types of services you offer that might fit them. And then get them out into the conversion to either a calendar page or a sales page or an actual phone call right then with a sales team or whatever. I mean, it really, I haven't seen, the only business that I've seen that would not be a good fit for a chatbot is a financial services, actually it's a financial news site. And he's doing crazy amazing, incredibly well, multi-million-dollar products and services that he sells. But his audience, self-described, he describes his audience as male, ages 65 to dead. And I'm like, okay, you're probably right. I don't think males age 65 to dead are on Facebook. So yeah, I don't think
let alone
a bot would help.
engaging with the chatbot.
Everyone else is on Facebook.
What about connecting it with Instagram? I mean, I know sort of less and less, it's a bit controversial statement, but Facebook are kind of losing users a little bit and people are really on Instagram and stuff. Can you sort of incorporate it that way?
Totally. Well, first off, Facebook owns Instagram. So there's one thing.
Yes.
Yeah. But secondly, so I'll say two more things. Number one, you can put that link anywhere. So if you go to my Instagram, you'll see I have a Linktree account. So I've got several links that you can click in my bio. And one of them specifically talks about a particular lead magnet that I offer in Messenger. Right. So you say that right there. So they click that link, they go straight into Messenger and they get whatever I'm offering them. So that's the first thing. The second thing is Facebook, by the end of this year, at least their goal is by the end of this year, to open up Facebook, Instagram, and WhatsApp to chatbots.
Yep.
So you're going to be able to communicate with all your customers or your audience on all three of those platforms. We're not clear whether it's going to be one dashboard, three different dashboards. Those are the details, but Facebook is going all in messaging for businesses.
Interesting. It'd be interesting if, I guess there's a way that you can incorporate your Messenger subscriber list with your email marketing list.
You can, definitely. So I call it double subscribing. So we double subscribe people all the time. Here's a typical example. You've been to a webinar and you know that webinars, you have to register for webinars with your email address. So we start that webinar process on Facebook in Messenger and we give value first and nurture people and ask them, hey, you might want to join our free masterclass on XYZ. Would you like to join us? And they say yes or no. So if they say yes, then we actually have an integration that we've custom built to allow us to take their email address from Facebook, because Facebook shows us their email address that they use to create their Facebook account. And we already have their name because Facebook also gives us their name. And so we automatically register them for the webinar without them. So we take away that barrier.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. So then we automatically register them in whatever platform we're using. And then at the same time, we take that email address and usually using Zapier, but there are some native integrations like MailChimp, HubSpot, and I think ConvertKit so far, that automatically, we don't need Zapier, they will automatically bring in your lists and your campaigns, and you can choose which list and which campaign to subscribe that person to because they've already given you their email address. So now we've got them subscribed in both places, email and Messenger, and we've got them on a webinar. So crazy amazing things we could do with that.
Totally. How does Facebook allow you to get their email address in order to do that? So that sort of through ManyChat?
Yes. Oh, it's exactly through ManyChat. Yeah. So if you're using ManyChat, you can do it. If you're using ChatFuel, MobileMonkey, Opesta, any of the messaging platforms where you can build these chatbots, you first have a text box that basically says, hey, is that your best email address below? And it automatically populates a button with their email address. And most people, the Facebook email address they signed up with is now 10 years old.
Yes.
So it's not the one they typically use. So what we typically say is that your best email address below? If so, click it. If not, type in a better one. And when they type it in or click the button, whichever one, it's automatically then subscribed to all those other places I mentioned, the webinar and then your email list.
Have you ever had sort of pushback from people, suddenly now you're in their inbox, like people sort of saying, how did I subscribe? I never had it.
Nothing. No, I haven't because first off, less than 20% of the people typically on our email lists are actually even opening our emails. So
Yes.
yeah, I'm just communicating with people almost exclusively in Messenger.
Yeah. Wow. Amazing. And I do know you can export your Messenger subscriber list and upload it to Facebook as a custom audience and all that kind of
Yes,
stuff.
you can export it and upload it as a custom audience for ads and things like that. You can't export it and put it into another bot platform.
Right.
Can't do that.
Can't do that. What about if I know lots of people within their email marketing will split test certain emails. Can you do that kind of stuff as well?
Oh my goodness, yes. You can split test, oh my goodness, like 3 or 4 different sequences of messages. Each of those can, obviously we know split testing, you probably only want to change one thing at a time, right?
Yes.
Because otherwise you don't know what's working. So you can split test different images, different copy, different buttons, any of those things. And you can choose which percentage of people get shown which message. So you can do it 50-50, you can do it 70-30, you can try 3 different ones and do it 30-30-30. All of that is possible. Not only that, but every single button that they have the opportunity to click, you can tag so that everyone who clicked that button, is interested in whatever that thing was that button talked about. And then you can send them targeted messages only to the people who click that button or only to the people who didn't click that button. It's segmented, personalized, split testing. You can do custom rules. It's incredible. And that's just only beginning. I mean, this is still a very new technology and it's constantly growing and changing.
Yeah, amazing. So I know you're all about writing good copy for Messenger. And, obviously I've dabbled in Messenger bots for some of my own businesses and clients. So what are some, I guess, best practice you think people should use when sort of dabbling with Messenger bots?
Yes, thank you so much for opening that can of worms. I'm so happy because I see, So number 1, do not dump a mini email in a Messenger bot. What I mean by that is if you find yourself on your desktop creating a chat bot and you find yourself doing paragraph breaks within that same text block, that's your number 1 clue that is going to be a low converting message.
That's your first warning sign.
First warning, don't put paragraphs in there, okay? Even if it's only 1 sentence and then you have a line break, a blank line, and then you start the next sentence, even if you're just doing that. So remember, this goes up on people's phones. And so when you deliver that message that's got paragraphs in it, it just goes off of their screen. They can't read the whole thing. So they have to scroll up to find the top and then start reading. And we know what we do when we read emails. We scan. We don't read, we scan. So now do you really want to make them scan your messages? No, you will get very low conversions. So number 1, typically I keep it 160 characters or less in each text block. And then if you don't have a button or a call to action right after that 160 characters, you definitely don't have to, you would put a typing delay in there. And so that basically allows, there are those 3 little dots that make it look like you're typing. So that's a typing delay, letting the subscriber know more is coming.
Oh, wow.
So you do 160 characters, typing delay, 160, and the typing delay should be when you're looking at ManyChat, however many lines of text you have on there, that's how many seconds of a delay you should have. So if you've got 10 lines of text, that's too many. Right? So I want to keep it 5 or less if you can. Okay? So 160 characters, typing delay, 5 or less lines, and then within 3, at around an average of 3 text blocks with typing delays between, you should have some interaction. You should have some kind of button. You should have call to action. Even if you just say, do you agree? Yes or no, right? Something leading so that you're not just tell. You need to ask questions. You need to get them engaged in what you're saying. And so that's standard. 160 characters, typing delay, no more than 5 lines if you can, and then no more than or around 3 text blocks before you actually have an engagement.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I guess continuing on that, is there sort of tell people to avoid? So obviously big paragraphs is number one. I guess, like if somebody's first engaging with the brand, like, do you choose to sort of tell your story a little bit, or do you kind of give them what they want? How do you decide that?
Good question. So that is really going to depend on how they came into your bot. So just like in email, we typically give them something in exchange for subscribing, right?
Yep.
So I don't typically just have a general sequence of, hey, welcome. There is a welcome message, but not a lot of people come in that, in my bot anyway, or my clients' bots, through that welcome message. They don't just find us on our Facebook page and click send a message. And that's typically where you can see that welcome message. They come in for a specific thing that we're offering, a lead magnet of some kind. And so depending on what they came in for, we obviously want to deliver what we promised, first off. And just to give you an idea there, you can actually deliver PDFs, videos, and audios in the chatbot, as long as they are 25 megabytes or less in size. And you don't really want to get near that 25 megabyte size, because it takes a long time for it to load.
Yes.
So you can deliver all those things as long as they're less than 25 megabytes in size. And then, so we delivered what we promised, and then we talk about what we promised and talk about why they're there and what other value we can give or expand upon the thing that we just delivered. But it's all value driven. Whatever that is, give value, and that is going to get them to know, like, and trust you faster and deeper than anything else. And then beyond that, the number one no that I would say is try not to sell. I know it's hard. I know we're marketers. We want to make money for ourselves and our clients, but this is not a sales. We're not in a sales page. Okay. We are not trying to sell. We are trying to nurture to help them decide if they want to sell. And one of the best things I can tell you is to get very comfortable with rejection. So what I mean by that is invite people to reject you before they get angry, right? Before they think you're bugging them. Invite them to say, no, thank you. And that's totally fine. I actually incorporate that into every single bot, not just, hey, you can unsubscribe by typing stop, because they can. All they have to do is type the word stop and the unsubscribe button comes up, which is awesome. But I also tell them along the way, if I'm asking questions and I say, hey, do you want to join me on my free masterclass? Or I'm going to show you XYZ. I say, heck yes, or nah, no thanks. I actually give both of those options. And the people who say, nah, no thanks, I lead them to a message saying, okay, no worries. I'll be back soon with more information and helping you out with XYZ. If you ever want to unsubscribe, type stop. Mm-hmm. And you can make it fun. I've had some things where it's just so obvious when I show people the difference in the amount of money they could make if they had their email subscribers in Messenger. And it's usually tens of thousands of dollars different based on their own information, based on their own conversion rates. And so when I get down to the bottom of showing them all that, I'm like, okay, are you blown away or what? And I say, heck yes. And then I say, no, not really. And the people who click no, not really, I come back with, are you kidding me? You're probably the first person in the world to ever click that button. You have fun with it. Because I would rather, and then I give them the option to say, never mind, I was only kidding. Show me the stuff, right? Because you want to give them those options, because in Messenger, more than anywhere else, the user, the subscriber, is in the driver's seat. So let them drive and choose what they want to do.
Yeah, that's awesome. I can imagine pick your brain for a very, very long time, but I'm also mindful of your time, and you've been really generous. Where can people find out more information about you and your services and all the wonderful work that you do?
Oh, thanks, Alana. You can just go to messengerfunnels.com, and it's Messenger, not necessarily just in Facebook Messenger. Obviously, we do chatbots in other places. It's really the messenger of your brand, the messenger of your communication. That's what we're trying to talk about there. But it's messengerfunnels.com. You can connect with me on Twitter, Messenger Funnel. You can connect with me on Facebook, Messenger Funnels. You can go to chatbotmom.com. That can take you right into the bot and show you what we do. Yeah, so just dive in. And anyone who has any other questions, they can reach out to me anytime, and I'd love to explain more or help them understand how this thing works.
Yeah, that's awesome. Mary, thank you so much for taking the time out of your day. I've certainly have learnt a lot and in how I'm going to apply it to my clients and maybe even my own business.
You better. Yeah, us marketers, we are the worst at marketing our own businesses, right?
Totally. It's like the plumber with leaky pipes, right?
Yes.
Thank you so much. And it's been lovely to chat to you. And yeah, I'm sure we'll be in touch soon.
We'll chat soon. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
You have been listening to the Talking Web Marketing podcast. For more information or resources on today's episode, head on over to talkingwebmarketing.com.